Hi, you're watching Practicing Alchemy with me, Jerry. This is a channel where you're going to get the truth, but in a compassionate and empathetic way because the veil has been lifted. Now, this is part 2 of my talk regarding ADHD in children and adults. I do need to disclaim that I am not a therapist. I am not a coach either, but I am working on that. I'll be working on becoming a coach. But I am someone who does have ADHD. And I've read a lot about it, and I've had a lot of people ask me about it. So this is my part 2. And in part 1, we discussed what it stood for and its history of the condition and the criteria for diagnosing it. I also spoke about an important trait that was left out of the criteria for diagnosis, but is really important to be aware of, and that is emotional dysregulation. In part 2's video, I'm going to explain how ADHD is developed. And I've read a book that I really recommend anybody who has any involvement with someone special that has ADHD, ADD. And it's called Scattered, and it's by Dr. Gabor Mate. And he really goes in and gives super validation, especially to adults that suffers with ADHD. And he himself didn't realize until he was 50-something years old that he was ADHD. But him being a medical doctor, he really could just go in and explain, how the brain works and basically how attunement works with the child and the mother. And I'm going to give a brief description on how he puts it. So I'm going to start with this. Let's see. Now, I'm going to be telling this, and I'm going to be referring to the caretaker, the nurturer, like the mother, the father, the guardian, the adopted mother, the adopted father, the grandmother. I'm going to be referring to, as I explain this, as the mother. Okay, the mother figure. So, don't feel offended by this, if I don't mention that, because, I got to be able to do it that way. Okay, now, when a baby is born, and actually I should say before the baby is born, because it can affect the baby before it's born. You never try to get a pregnant woman upset because it could make the baby upset. And they have proved that with blood pressure. I know they have done that. But also, mainly when the baby is born, it has the mother to feed it, to nourish it, to clean it, to entertain it. And that baby is in a constant learning stage. It's learning to recognize cues. Now, a baby cannot understand language. It can't spell and it can't talk. But it can read emotional cues. Okay? So the thing is, it doesn't know what emotion is until the mother basically teaches it. And the mother is not even realizing that she's doing it. But if she is experiencing emotion and she's bonding with the baby, that baby really thinks that mother is an extension of itself. And it's not until about, I think, 7 or 8 months, and it may even be longer than that, that the baby actually starts to realize that it's a separate being and that the mother is a separate being. So during this time, this is called attunement. This is a stage of attunement between the infant and the mother. Now, during this time, it is possible the baby may be subjected to a minimal amount of negative emotions, such as anger, sadness, frustration, any given negative emotion, envy, jealousy. I mean, any of this that would bring up a strong emotion that the mother could feel. Okay? And if the mother holds on to any of those emotions for a long period of time, it will turn into anxiety. And that baby will feel every bit of it, especially if it's subjected to it on a constant basis. And we have 3 survival mechanisms, basically, from forever. Okay? And it is basically flight, fight, or freeze. And so you have a baby, and you're experiencing anger. You are mad. Maybe your husband cheated on you. Maybe somebody did something really bad to you. Maybe somebody stole from you. And then you're so angry that you're not able to let it go. And it could be a stress that justifiably is right. You're angry. But you're holding on to it. And some people hang on to it longer than others without soothing themselves. Okay? So if you're one of these people and that baby's sensitive and it doesn't know, they know this feeling feels bad in their body. Okay? Just like it's feeling bad in your body. They're going to feel that, and they do not know what to do with that. Now, that feeling they're feeling in their body, because you projected that feeling to them, is going to feel the same way until their adulthood, until they die. It's the same feeling. They are being taught that feeling. They are being subjected to that feeling. So you have a mother that's angry and she can let it go. She sits there, she calms down, she takes care of herself, and she soothes herself. That baby is going to learn by sensing that energy of relief and the same chemicals that are firing off in the mother's head to calm her, because she learned as a child from her mother to soothe herself in that particular emotion. That baby will be able to do the same thing. It's actually going to develop the capability in its brain to release certain chemicals in a balanced way. Okay? Now, you have a mother who is angry and cannot let it go. Now, that baby has the 3 choices: flight, fight, or freeze. Now, flight. Can that baby sit there and holler out, "Somebody pick me up and get me out of this crib. I got to get away from this woman"? Well, I'm sure if it could, it would. But that's not going to happen. So there's fight. Now, that's when the baby goes to screaming bloody murder. Okay? Now, the mother might get up and soothe the baby, but if she doesn't soothe herself, it does no good in the long run. That's a short-term fix. Okay? And then this is most likely what's going to happen is the baby's going to freeze because it's stuck in this hell, basically. And let's just say the anger is just turned to frustration. Now, this is going to make a lot of sense to you when I say this to you, because then that baby's sitting there with the same frustration. Well, that baby doesn't know what to do with that emotion, and eventually that baby is going to find something else to tune that out. That emotion in its body, it can feel it. It's going to tune itself out. It's going to distract. It's going to look at a bug on the wall because it's more emotionally okay looking at that bug on the wall than dealing with that emotion that mother is projecting out. So, hence, fast forward 10 years. And you're looking at your child and you're going, and you're frustrated. Woo-wee. You're frustrated. And you're like, clean your room. And it's kind of funny because that child is just not enthused at all about your frustration. Because you expect that child to be as frustrated as you. Well, guess what? Learned at an early age. Tuned you out. Tuning you out. Tuning you out. And anybody that makes that child feel that emotion, he's not or she's not going to cope with it. Will not do it. Will not do it. Because he does not, and he was never taught how to self-soothe that emotion. Now, it is possible. People change. Adults change. Obviously, we all grow spiritually and emotionally, and we integrate things. Maybe there is an emotion. I remember being jealous when I was a teenager, but I'm not a jealous person now. So, obviously, I've integrated that. I'm secure now. So, the only thing you can really do after the separation, where the baby notices there's a separation of beings, is you have to be able to show by example and not hide. Because if he did detect all those emotions, it's not going to do any good to hide. You need to be able to show this child and teach the child how to self-soothe, how to calm down, how to get to a state that's important, not the things that are not important. Worrying about something is useless. Useless. Now, worrying is an alert, but to sit there and hold on to it and then get filled with anxiety does nothing for nobody. Nothing. Some people may say, use your guilt against you you should feel worried. You got a lot of people who say stuff like that. That's not true. Do something about it. But if you're worrying, then maybe you're not capable of doing something about it, and that's a problem too. Okay, but you know what? You have to take care of yourself first. You have to. You have to take care of your emotions first. And then that baby will learn by example. Well, I just noticed the time and I have like 45 seconds left. So apparently we may end up having 2 more parts. So I'm going to end with this. And I'm going to post the first 2 parts. And we will talk about in the next one examples of how it affects relationships. I really didn't get into that. And I wanted to. But I'm going to do that on the next part. Anyway, if you like my video, hit like, subscribe, share. And if you got any questions, leave me a comment. Thank you.